Hi, this is Kim Allen, and I am just I'm popping on here because I've had a conversation in the last couple months, almost the same conversation with four different women, friends of mine, people I know, who are trying to deal with fear that they have about riding after taking pretty serious falls off of their horses. And these women are all 40 and above. As we age, our bodies don't take those falls so well anymore. But it's really about the fear that they have. And all four of these women are really feeling, they're really beating themselves up over the fact that they can't get past the fear. And they believe that they should be able to move through it and start riding again and not have the fear. And it makes me honestly really sad to hear how much these women are struggling, because this is a very common issue. And um, so I've been thinking about writing a blog about this, but I decided I would just come on video and try to talk through it a little bit. So I'm really just talking off the top of my head today. And I really just, it's not aimed at anyone. I just want to maybe share a little bit about my own journey with this. And it's been a long journey, and where I've landed and what I've learned, and just in case it's helpful to anybody out there who might be struggling with this. So, I first started dealing with fear around horseback riding when I was in college, and I attended a college that had a horseback riding program, an equestrian program, and we could take horseback riding for PE classes. And so this it was in my junior year, and I was in a group lesson. We were out in the back of the facility, kind of a mock eventing course, very small, but it wasn't in an arena. It was outside, and it was a group lesson. I had a helmet on, all appropriate safety gear. The horse was sound, and the tack was good, and it was a small group lesson, and I had a very capable instructor. And this is still where a very horrific accident occurred for me. And the bottom line is that no matter how well trained a horse is, no matter how experienced a horse is, no matter if it's one that's used in a lesson program, that's used to being ridden by lots of people, that travels, does all kinds of things, at the end of the day, horses are horses, which means they're prey animals. And if that flight instinct or that survival instinct gets triggered, no matter how well trained a horse is, and different horses have different, some get triggered easily and some it takes quite a bit, or something unexpected. But if it gets triggered, the survival instinct is going to take over. And when that happens, we can hope and pray for the best, and a lot of times we are able to get through it. But other times it just happens so quickly and so explosively that there really isn't anything we can do. And that's what happened to me. I was riding. There was one side of the field that we were riding in that had a tree line, and there were some dogs that had gotten loose and were in the woods and spooked my horse. And this horse had such an explosive initial reaction when it spooked that I almost got thrown off in that. Lost both stirrups, for all intents and purposes, lost the reins. I was kind of hanging off the horse. And my first instinct was to not fall, and I was trying to kind of clamber back on, and the horse bolted immediately into a full run. And I was kind of hanging off. I had absolutely no control of the horse. I had two choices. I could, keep hanging on and hope that the horse would stop, or I could get back on, or I could bail. And the horse was running directly toward, full gallop, toward a jump, not to jump it, but I could tell that he was going to go beside it, and on the side that I was leaning off of, I was going to get smashed into that jump. And so I made the decision to bail out of full gallop. Long story short, I ended up breaking a bone in the top of my neck. Obviously a very traumatic experience and injury. I did recover. I had a full recovery, and the most important thing for me at that time was to get back on the horse when I was ready and able. And that was what everybody wanted me to do, and that's what I was encouraged to do, with actually nothing to be done to help me even process or deal with the fears that I had. So for many, many years, I pushed through fears. I continued to ride, but there was always that underlying fear. And I spent probably the next 2 decades of my life trying to become the best rider, the best, horsewoman, the best trainer that I could be, all for the sake of wanting to be as safe as possible. Of course, in that process, I also learned so much more about horses and became much more interested in their experience and the emotional connection and all of those things, right? So I got to where I was pretty confident on most horses, certainly my horses, in almost any situation, and I trusted them a lot. Well, then just maybe about now, it's almost 10 years ago now, was my second really bad accident. I had falls in between that, things that happened, but I was never seriously injured. The second really serious accident that I had, I was on my horse. I had a friend here who was on my other horse, two very trustworthy, dependable horses. The only thing we were doing was sitting in my yard on the horses bareback while they were grazing. We had done this dozens of times, never had any issues. We were relaxed talking, and some birds got in some kind of a scuffle in the bushes around my house. And somehow, the way that they came fluttering out, both of these horses went from calm grazing to bolting forward in a split second. Both me and my friend went over the off backwards, just flipped backwards out over the horses. I was able to catch myself a little bit with the lead rope that I had on. We're just halters and lead ropes. And so when I fell, I was lucky that all I did was injure my shoulder. But my friend was very, very severely injured in that accident, and she she went unconscious temporarily. She cracked several vertebrae. She broke, I can't remember now if it was 6 or 8 ribs. She punctured a lung. She had a concussion. She almost died that day. And we weren't doing anything except sitting bareback on two very trustworthy horses in our yard. So I guess what I wanted to get on and say is that it's normal. It's probably healthy, and it's really good to have a healthy fear about riding horses, because it is an inherently dangerous activity. And it's inherently dangerous because the horse is a different kind of animal than we are. It is, and it moves quickly, and it's explosive, and when its survival instincts kick in, they're going to kick in, and there isn't anything we can do about it. So it doesn't matter how good a rider you are, these accidents could still happen. Now, they may not. There's lots that we can do to reduce the chances of it happening, but I would never, at this stage in my life, tell anyone that they can ever be safe and not be prone to an accident when riding on any horse in any situation. You just never know. Luckily, I had a full recovery. My friend had a full recovery. But again, I'm just going to say that I'm not sure getting over those fears and becoming, fearless when riding should ever be a goal that we strive for. It's something that we're told. There's a lot of pressure around it. We feel like we're a failure if we don't do that. Those who know me know that now riding isn't even part of what I do with horses. It's not, I didn't stop doing it because of those fears. I actually stopped doing it because when I really started questioning it, and I had to stop riding because of an injury with one of my horses for a while, and I realized that my horses didn't miss it, and I didn't really miss it, and that riding, even when I'd gotten, really good and was a great trainer, riding was still stressful and hard. And it took a lot of effort, and there was a lot of setup for it. And I was spending a lot of time and energy around riding that I wasn't spending enjoying the friendship and communion that I have with my horses. And now I've created a whole different life with horses that I love way more than I ever loved riding, and it's beautiful. So I don't know. I just wanted to get on and process some of that, and I just wanted to say, if you're out there and you have fears because of an accident you've had on a horse, this is perfectly normal. And, it's okay if you want to work through them and get back on again, but I would just encourage you to really question, why do you want to ride again? Make sure that it's because you love riding and not because it's this fantasy of that when I get good enough, it won't be scary anymore or it won't be dangerous anymore, because that's not true. You need to love riding enough that it's worth the risk that those really bad falls could happen. So anyway, if you're out there and you want support around this, or you need someone to talk to get a different perspective on how to maybe, move through this, or even have some options other than getting back in the saddle, if that just doesn't feel like it's worth the time and money and effort and energy and risk, I'm here, and I do coaching and mentoring, and I would love to support you if I can. All right. So love to everyone out there. Stay safe. Bye.